The Huffington Post has apparently embraced men's rights activism and red pill ideology. And what I mean by red pill, it's the dating, social marketplace. What is it? It's a sexual marketplace. Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about that stuff, but I have heard some stuff. Basically, Huffington Post tweeted this. Women peak in desirability at age 18. Men peak at 50. Oh my stars and garters. Did HuffPost really go there? This is from a couple weeks ago. Well, you can imagine that. Look, I'm gonna look at that and say, okay, Huffington Post, what's your logic? And they actually based it off a scientific study, and I think, okay. I saw a study, I think it was from OkCupid, that found, maybe it wasn't OkCupid, but it said that women's desirability actually peaks earlier than 18. It's like between 14 and 16, some ridiculously low number. This is physical desirability. Okay, hold on, let me finish before you freak out about nasty adults. They found is that in appearance, men overwhelmingly like teenage girls, but there's other factors in attractiveness outside of appearance. So this is when it comes to dating websites, they found this to be true. But when they added in certain psychological factors like maturity and experience and preferences, they found that the average age was actually 22. So this is a little off compared to some of the other studies I've read. Look, the idea is men want women because women can create human babies. And women want men because they're strong and can protect them and their babies. And thus we're seeing what this thing from Huffington Post is, that women peak in desirability at age 18. And I think the reason it says 18 is that the article actually says it starts high and goes down. But in actuality, it goes up before going down. It has to. The issue is you can't legally hook up with someone under 18, right? So they start at 18, whereas men become extremely valuable when they're around 50 years old. Well, let me pull up this article, because here's what the Huffington Post article is actually about. Most of us are trying to date out of our league, new study suggests. And they get into the age of desirability. But I gotta hand it to the politically motivated anti-science people, because obviously a lot of feminists are really, really angry about this. First, we have Molly Jong Fast. She is described as irritated left of center, soulless ginger feminist novelist, and married to Matt Greenfield, according to her profile. She said, delete your account. That's like, delete your account is like the stupidest fake meme I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't mean anything. It's so dumb. And like Hillary Clinton tweeted it, now people are like, delete your account. It's like, oh, come on, come up with something more original. And so like people are saying something like, women hit their peak at 40 and it's eternal. Happy peak day. Someone said, loving my 40s, loved my 30s, 20s, but 40s have been my favorite. Here's one, this is funny, it says, men peak at 50, says study by 50-year-old man. Women peak at 18, says 50-year-old man who needs to have a seat over there. Plot twist, the lead author is a 50-year-old man named Elizabeth E. Brutch. And that's what's funny. Look, there's a lot of people in the comments here. Look, here's one that's like, it's photos, huh? Me at my peak on the left and 23 years post-peak on the right, from Hottie to Naughty. Ladies, I would love to see pictures of you at your peak desirable age of 18 versus your current state. Yes, what they don't realize, the article is talking about dating. Literally, that this younger version of you is more sexually desirable than the older, successful version of you. Now, that's not universally true, but when they do these studies, they're not trying to disparage people or insult people. I mean, actually, maybe some people are, I don't know. But it's just, they're trying to figure out how things work. And science shouldn't be disregarded simply because you personally don't like the outcome. Life isn't fair. Sometimes people are too short, sometimes people are too tall, sometimes people just look ugly. And they have no market, they're not attractive to anybody. But what she's comparing here is her career success. It looks like she's standing in front of some kind of, I don't know, plane, small plane of some sort, or some kind of vehicle. And I think that's an airfoil, so maybe I have no idea what that is. But she's comparing her success in career to when she was young and physically attractive. Actually, I think she's still physically attractive. So this is a woman who's showing just great photos of herself. But that's not the point. The point is, what they're trying to say is that young women are physically attractive and men don't like older women as much. It's that simple. But obviously, there's a bunch of people posting and complaining about this. Look at this. I'd read this, but HuffPost peaked in 2007. Oh, underrated tweet. Look, obviously, women are going to be angry about this, but let's look at what they actually talk about in the article. So it's actually not even really that sexist. It just talks about how literally everybody is trying to date out of their, they're trying to date up. You know what I mean? It says, After a month of hold on. Researchers analyzed thousands of messages exchanged on an unnamed popular free online dating service. I'm just going to go ahead and say OkCupid. Between nearly 200,000 straight men and women. After a month of observing, they found most online daters tend to message people exactly 25% more desirable than they are. But single people are reasonable too. They also pursue those who are in their league, desirability-wise, though users rarely date down. That's interesting. Our study suggests that people are pursuing partners who are a little more desirable than they are. Women are a bit less aspirational than men, said Elizabeth Bruch, an associate professor of sociology at the University of Michigan and an author of the study. So the article is actually written by Brittany Wong. This is really funny. Written by Brittany Wong, and the study was done by Elizabeth Bruch. Article by a woman, study by a woman, a bunch of angry women on Twitter. The researchers focused on 4 big metropolitan areas: New York, Boston, Chicago, Seattle. Desirability was determined by how many messages a user received during the month. The team used 2 variables to generate desirability rankings for users: whether other desirable people contacted the user and whether other desirable people replied when the user contacted them. If a user started messaging with a less desirable person, the less sought-after person's desirability score would go up. If a less desirable person contacted a more desirable user and received a reply, the more sought-after person's score would take a hit. Wow. The most desirable person in all 4 cities, a 30-year-old woman living in New York who received 1,504 messages during the period of observation. Holy shit! The study says that's the equivalent of 1 message every 30 minutes, day and night for an entire month. Wait, hold on. That was 1 person. You know, this is what, I don't know if you guys know Bumble. I've never used it, but I like the concept. I don't really use a lot of these dating apps. I am on OkCupid, but I never really go on it and don't use it, not in years. I like the idea of Bumble because men can't message women. Women have to message men. Because here's how dating works. Guys will just cast a huge net, sending generic messages to as many women as possible, and then the women who are interested will selectively reply. Women get just shit tons of messages and then go through and pick the guys they like and respond to it. So it's really just a whole waste of time. Think about dating in real life. I can walk up to any single person, anywhere, and be like, hey, how's it going? I go to a bar and just talk to people. Yeah, it's harder for some people, but for some people it's easy. And I talk for a living, so rest assured, if I need to talk, I can talk for a long time, and to anybody I want. It's very easy for me. I have a ridiculous advantage over many men in the real world because most guys are shy, and I don't know about most guys, but a lot of guys are. I can walk up to someone and be like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm here when I want to talk, and maybe we'll see if... The challenge with this is you don't know a lot about the person, and it's likely you're not going to have a lot in common. Online, you can find who you have a lot in common with, but they're not going to respond to you because guys just spam message everybody. So look at this. This woman got 1,504 messages during the study, a message every 30 minutes a day and night for an entire month. And you know what was actually going on? Like, it was probably all around like 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. because it was guys trying to hook up. So it's probably just like, it's 6 o'clock. Here comes 500 messages. So let's continue reading. Among the people who corresponded on the app, the researchers analyzed first messages and first replies. A defining feature of heterosexual online dating is that the vast majority of cases, it is the men who establish the first contact. More than 80% of first messages are from men in our data set. But women reply very selectively to the messages they receive from men. Their average reply rate is less than 20%. So women's replies, along with a small fraction of first messages sent by women, can give us a significant insight about who they are interested in. But let's go specifically to the age portion of this so we can carry on with what we were talking about. Some of the findings from the study were more depressing. Bruch and her team determined that although men's sexual desirability peaks at age 50, women's starts high at 18 and drops from there. Wow. The steepness of the desirability curve by age for women definitely surprised me, as did the fact that it declined steadily between ages 18 and 65. Other studies have shown that men prefer younger women, but our study laid out starkly the implications of these preferences for market position. Age isn't the only mark against women on dating apps. Higher education dims their prospects too. An undergraduate degree was seen as desirable, but a woman's desirability ranking took a hit if she pursued a postgraduate education. That wasn't true for highly educated guys. Men with bachelor's degrees beat high school graduates, and men with postgraduate degrees outperformed those with bachelor's degrees. Why is none of this surprising? I can give you an assumption as to why this is true, because what is desirable in a woman for a man? A guy wants to have a family, so he wants a young, attractive woman who can have healthy babies. I would imagine if she's getting a postgraduate degree, he's probably thinking, for one, someone with a postgraduate degree is probably older, so they're probably taking a hit in that direction, but it also means they're focused on career, less family. And guys probably want a young woman who got her degree because it shows that she's smart and capable and does have those good genetics, but does look good and is young. Say young twice. But they can have a family. So, I've talked to a lot of guys, and they've told me that they've never considered any of this when it came to dating or family, that they just go for what they like. But that just means they look at someone's photo and says, and think to themselves, do I like this person? There are people who actually plan and say, oh man, if she's got a degree like that, she's going to be pursuing a career, and it's going to be difficult for me because I want to have a career. And then you have the issue of, if there's two breadwinners, who raises the kids? And I'll be damned if I would ever be a part of a family where we hired someone to raise the kids. No, like, if/when I have a kid, that kid's going to be a ninja chess-playing gaming master on a skateboard who invents crazy stuff and does awesome things. And that means I'm gonna be teaching that kid, be it a boy or a girl, to do awesome things. But it doesn't mean I want to give up my career. Fortunately, for the most part, I make videos at home, so I'm in like a good position. But I think the reason we're seeing that is that, look, guys want to conquer. They want to, they're confident. They want to build. They want to create. And so they want to spend a lot of their time on their careers. And if you find a woman that does the same thing, that means there's potentially a conflict. I don't know how true it is for everybody. It's rather anecdotal. But at least when I look at studies like this, it says to me that it's probably true to a certain extent. Unless the science is all fake. Overall, Bruch told us she's excited that large-scale data from dating sites can help us test long-held beliefs we have about love. As for whether the findings correlate in the wild, it's hard to say. Would you be as keen to walk up to a hot guy in a bar as you would be to message him? Probably not. Okay. All right, well, it says, but like Stefan, the 23-year-old guy from Los Angeles, it never hurts to shoot your shot. That sounds overly sexual, but it is what it is. So I can't say I'm surprised that there are women on Twitter who are angry at the findings of this study because they're spending more time in their careers. I personally have no beef, no qualms if women are doing their careers, doing their thing. That's fine. But I don't know if you guys watched my video on gaming and Battlefield. When these games want to create social justice, when Battlefield wants to include a woman with face paint and a cybernetic arm, I don't care. I really don't. Good for you. That's really awesome. You got your game. I'm just not going to play it because that's not what I'm into. And I can say the same thing for, career-driven women. They're personally, and I know there's a lot of people are going to call me sexist and all that stuff, but there is a limit to which I am interested in dating a woman. And it's not anything to do with their, I don't hold anything against them because they have careers. But let me just give you a specific example. I dated a woman who was an executive, and we just never saw each other after a couple days because we were traveling all the time, and then we ended up breaking up. And I thought to myself, this kind of relationship doesn't work. We're both successful in our career, and we're both traveling all the time, which means we're never around each other. So how does this work? It doesn't. There needs to be some kind of, I guess there's a limit. And so for the most part, I've spent almost all of my time working on career and haven't focused on this kind of dating. Partly because, the women I like are successful, career-driven, strong women who are going to, pick up a battle axe and go conquer the world, but then I never see them. So it becomes a conundrum of the millennial era, I suppose. Admittedly, it would be a lot easier if dating were traditional, but I'm not into that. I don't like that. I actually like the idea of women being successful and self-reliant. One of the criteria for my OkCupid is that a woman would have to be able to survive a zombie apocalypse on her own, right? I'm being facetious, but the idea is listen, the person that I want to be with is going to be able to leap over, vault a 6-foot wall while running full speed and guns are going off. That's the kind of stuff, so I should probably just find a conflict journalist who can go into the craziness with me, but that is what it is. Ultimately, let me just end by saying this. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to dating, and I don't think anybody does. Because it's just been a big mystery for everybody for a long time, and there are some things we think we know and we probably actually don't. But it's interesting that this stuff is being done and there's research being done, and we'll see what happens. Naturally, whatever the findings are, everyone's going to be pissed off. So there you have it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow.